Incredible. A local hero. Tell me you saw that court storming yesterday.
So much of a local. I want this man to call the show today. I want to know who this person is. He needs to be recognized because he alone went out there when everybody else gave up on this team. He just looked at them all and said, no. I will rush the court if I have to do it all by myself and have a one-man party. And he did. But that wasn't Cookie Moore. And maybe it was. I want to know. I want to know who that person was. So at some point, if you know that person, call them. I need to talk to them.
They had lost 26 games in a row. You guys made fun of them a couple Fridays ago, right?
Yeah.
They finally win, and we get a court storming.
I was like,
kind of, sort of.
You know, when PJ sends me the thing, like, we got a court storm. Maybe I should give him Titan Club tickets. No. He gets season tickets. Season tickets. Titan Club. You know what? Give him a warm-up. Let him sit on the bench.
Rico, the video.
That's a real fan.
He takes a couple steps out, realizes it's only him, takes a couple more, puts both arms in the air, and
spins it around in a circle.
Basking in it.
Right. Like, guys, we may never see this again.
It's incredible for people who missed it.
I mean, Kenny comes from that elite school of OU. They win all the time. But, UD people have to relish this moment.
For those who miscashed the ticket, we actually gave out that play, and I think it is our finest hour as a podcast that we handed out an 0-26 team as a favorite, and it hit our finest hour. We will do no better than that. So, some love for Detroit Mercy as we kick off the show.
UDM.
Yes.
Not Detroit UDM.
UDM.
Or just is it UD? They keep changing.
Okay,
they won.
When I go into the little app and I check the score, it says Detroit Mercy.
They won.
All love.
You know what? You're better than the Pistons. You won.
You know who else won last night?
Who?
Team that may have been buried too soon by the guy who normally sits in this seat. Is the light switch getting flipped on here?
You know what? Yeah. Michigan State. We're talking about Michigan State basketball, folks. When Costa sends you when he sends you a text message of just somebody hitting a light switch, it took a sec. Like, what meme is this? Michigan State goes on the road. They defeat Penn State 80-72. It wasn't even that close. Penn State hit a couple try-hard baskets at the end to tighten up the score. Michigan State led for double digits from about 95% of the game. I'm going to say this. This is the reason why Tom Izzo is so polarizing when it comes to basketball. Because he starts off, there's high hopes, there's high expectations. Spartan fans think whatever happened last year rolls over into the new year. You find out it doesn't. They crash and burn like clockwork. But around basketball reunion weekend, sometime in February, they're going to play a weekend game against a top-ranked opponent. They're going to beat that opponent. They're going to beat that team. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, could this be? Even you were asking, could this team go on a Final Four run? This is where the whole January, February Izzo comes in. Because at the beginning of the year, he schedules all the hard games, and they lose. And then they started winning. And then you start saying, well, if they're beating all of these teams, you start looking at the schedule. Did you bury them? It depends on what you're looking for. Is this a Final Four team? I'm going to still say no. The sad reality is this. 248-539-9797. Michigan State fans, did you bury this MSU basketball team too soon? Did you say Tom Izzo was washed and he's cooked? Or maybe you still want him gone. We'd love to hear what you have to say. I'll stand by this. This team, the bar has dropped for them. It used to be about going to the Final Fours, and now it's about getting to the second weekend. Now it's about, can you get to the Sweet 16? They don't hang banners for it, but they hang unofficial banners. It's like pounding your chest. Yeah, well, at least we got to play K-State and lose in New York in a double overtime game. We made it because they haven't made it out the first weekend in a long time. Since last year was the first time in a long time. Think about that. Michigan State used to guarantee if you went there and stayed for 4 years, you were guaranteed to go to a Final Four. That's over. Now, it's Sweet 16. But The team is not as bad as a lot of people think, because I heard people, well, they're not going to make the tournament. And then with Mike, they will make the tournament, okay? They have enough wins. They have enough net ranking. They're going to make the tournament. The problem is you're sitting in the dreaded 8-9 seed. That means you're going to play. If you happen to win the coin flip game, because 8-9, ask any better, that's the game you really don't want to play because you have no idea. Then your reward, congratulations, there's UConn. Congratulations, well, you can't play Purdue because they're in the same conference, but there's Kansas, there's Houston. There's a top team waiting for you if you happen to get past the first game.
I don't want to drop the bar for Izzo. This is a Hall of Fame coach. They had a preseason top 5 team. They have not lived up to that. But I think when people, and I'm going to use Mike as the example of this, but when people buried this team, I think they did it prematurely. Rico, since 2001, every team that has won the national title has been top 25 in offensive and defensive efficiency. Guess where Michigan State sits today? Top 25 in O&D efficiency. They got a coach with tourney success. They got not one, not two, 3 guards. And when one guy doesn't play well, another one picks him up. It was Aikens yesterday.
Well, I'm about to say a fourth when they got shot, but yes.
I left that part out.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's guards, plural, coach who's done it, O&D efficiency, and this Malik Hall thing, he has come on strong lately.
Okay.
Rico, you know this, but I'm telling this to everybody else. They're going to be favored in just about every game outside the Purdue matchup to round out the regular season. There's runway for this team to take the Illinois win, which was big, the Penn State win, they're not that great, but it's a road win, and string together another one this weekend against Michigan. And then, Iowa, Ohio State, who fired a coach. They win 5-6 in a row. They start heating up. And guys, does it not feel like that familiar feeling as the calendar shifts to March? For as much as people have buried them, I think that was premature.
See, here's what happened. And I do think it depends on where you're at. Because, yes, burying them thinking that, they're not going to make the tournament, yeah, that's premature. But for Michigan State, you get judged fair or not based off of your past success. That's where the frustration kicks in. Because as a Spartan fan, you're used to a higher plateau.
Sweet 16 sounds
and it's
like
just like
weenie. When you say that, it sounds like
Sweet 16 is where you were in 1998. Okay, when you broke through, when you played North Carolina, it was like, wow, this is what the second weekend looks like. And then you went to 3 straight Final Fours. You won a national title. You start going. That's when he became Mr. March. Mm-hmm. And now it's almost feels like you're going backwards. Because here's the thing. You're favored in all the games coming up except for Purdue. Unfortunately, the Purdue game at Mackey is going to remind you of what life is really like when you play a top team. Because Mackey's just weird. I don't know if you've ever been.
I've heard stories.
It's asymmetric. It works for them. Okay?
And it's always given MSU fits.
The last time Michigan State won was the backcourt was Keith Appling and Gary Harris. Oh my God. Yeah, that Keith Appling and that Gary Harris.
Gary Harris is like rounding out an NBA career.
Right. That was
like
the
wrapping up.
That was the last time they went in there. So it causes problems.
Yeah.
If you're MSU, you're basing it off of what you want this team to be because they were preseason number 4. Now, you're right. They got a lot of things. The Malik Hall, I don't know what young lady has entered this man's life, but he needs to hold on to her because all of a sudden his game has changed. And he's going out there. He's dominating.
He's confident.
That's Malik. It was in the locker room. I was like, Malik, you realize that they threw the ball to you in Illinois. They gave you the ball, not Tyson Walker at the end of the game. He was like, well, that's what everybody thinks and dreams of in their backyard. But I'm sitting there thinking, but you're not Tyson Walker. Cookies, they've won their last 2 games. Tyson Walker has not been the leading scorer. If you can continue playing like this, then, the bar is high. If you can continue doing this, then, you can go. Now, it all depends on the seeding in the tournament. This is one where it's the frustrating thing about Tom Izzo and the MSU basketball program. Because just when you think they're done, they're not. I remember I had this conversation with the late, great Drew Sharp. And I said, Drew, you know what? I'm done. I'm done burying this team because they make me look ridiculous every year. I would go on the rant and like, oh, this team is horrible. And he was like, no. So fine, it was the year they had lost their first game in the Big Ten tournament. It was horrible. We were driving back from Indianapolis, and I made him a bet. And I'm like, Drew, I promise you, this team's going to the Final Four. You're being a homer. Not being a homer. I'm looking at analytics. And nobody even talked about analytics at that time. But I'm like, this team is going to go. Sure enough, he owed me a dinner. He was like, I'll be damned. You were right. You said this 3 weeks ago. I was like, Drew, that's what it's the frustrating thing about this team. This team, it's hard being a Spartan fan in basketball because you want to believe and then they take it away from you and then you're skeptical, should I believe again?
Yeah, we've done this dance before. Like you could make the little chart, the graphic, preseason expectations, big smile, early season struggles, Izzo's washed.
Because
early February, big win, wait, there's life, don't bury him now. Where are you at in that cycle of fandom? Because I do think some have already buried this team, and I think you were wrong to do so.
Yeah, I mean, Saturday is going to be a big game. You're going to be playing, not a big game, but it's a rivalry game. And you could go back to 20 years ago when State fans bought out Chrysler Arena, kind of like how Lions fans went to all the different arenas. And State fans can do that. Tickets are like $20-$30. And you turn that place into, hearing the Go Green, Go White chant going in there, maybe you can propel that because that's the one where, can you go? Because they're 0-4 against Juwan at Chrysler. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not have that stat today.
There you go.
Well, there you go. This is the worst Juwan team. Anyway, Michigan State's how we begin the show. They won last night on the road at Penn State. They had the big win last weekend against Illinois, starting to heat up at the right time of year. Your reaction, it's 97-1.